All right, here we are. I have no idea what number it is. I have no idea what day it is. But it's about number 11. And we are here in a two-a-day this week. We had a two-a-day on Monday. Had a really good practice on Monday night, probably one of our best of the year. Just a lot of emotion, a lot of excitement. You're in the stadium, you're under the lights. The sun's not out, just really a lot of energy and a lot of teamwork we did. Finished it up with a goal line scrimmage and just really like the way that it's coming. I keep talking about the offense and defense are just kind of day by day just switching off on who's having the more dominant day, but I think we're really sharpening each other right now, and that's what good football teams do. When the offense has a good day, the defense watches the film, makes some corrections, and then they'll have the better day, and then it's just going back and forth. And I like what I see right now because I think it's making us get better as an offense and defense. And then, one of the other big things we talked about trying to get done in camp was to develop leadership on this team. And we let the team vote on a leadership council. We've took a couple players from each position. I really like the way that those guys are becoming vocal right now. Some of the things that they're doing out on the field, we're pushing through. We're in week 2. And, right now, these are the times you got to push through it because it's not the beginning of camp. You're past installation, but you're not quite near the end yet. So this is when the leadership really steps up, and I've been pleased with the way those guys have come along. After the 2-a-day on Monday, we came back to a 1-a-day and then had another 2-a-day this morning, or today. Went this morning in shorts, spirited practice, a lot of things against each other with Pascal, but like I said, I really like the way it's coming along right now.
Coach, you talk about the installation. You say, is it completed today? It looked like maybe a little bit more was going on in offense.
Yeah, we're still, I'm going to say, playing with some small things. The major staples are in, as we call them, the things that you're going to do week in to week out. And now you're trying to put in some of the little adjustments you're going to make during the season. We kind of talk about, we put the menu up on the board, and then each week we'll kind of pick off of that what we want to take into a certain game. But there may be some things that we're going to run game 4 or 5 that we're going to put in, but we want to put them in now during camp. So when we get to that game week, we're just reintroducing it rather than starting from scratch and getting some work in it. But right now, a good part of it, the majority of it is in. We've got some of the young guys are getting a lot more reps. We've had a couple nicks and bumps, and some guys have missed a little time. I don't know that it's anything major at this point, but Carlos has missed some time. Eddie's missed some time. Paul Turner's missed some time. Got a lot of receivers that are down right now, and so a lot of those young guys are getting a chance. The Marcus Gaineses, the Olivers, the Marlon Watts. A lot of those guys are getting some reps. Cameron McKnight, Grant Childress has done some really good things. So those guys are getting a lot of work, and for some of them, it's the first time they've gotten this significant amount of work.
You never want to say that injuries are a positive, but is that something you can take positive away from a guy missing time?
Well, as long as they get back. As long as they get back, it helps create depth. And so that's one of the things we try and do during camp is we try and roll all 3 groups. Our 1s and 2s, try and get the bulk of it, but we try and get our 1s, 2s, and 3s because we've got to develop everybody because you don't know. As we talked about in that 5th game, that 3rd guy may be starting at a certain position, O-line, D-line, secondary. So right now you're coaching them all. We got to make them all better right now.
Your quarterback battle still seems like it's nip and tuck. Did you expect it to be this nip and tuck this far into camp?
Well, I think with those 2 guys, and we've really, Cody and Ryan are getting the bulk of the work right now. They're getting the bulk of the work, and I believe the completion percentage on camp is like 1 percentage difference in what they're throwing for completion percentages right now. They're both doing a really good job of protecting the ball. As we're in day 11, I think they've thrown, one of them's thrown 3 interceptions and one of them's thrown 1. And so I think they're doing a really good job of protecting the ball with the number of times that it's going up in the air. And I said, it's a heck of a battle right now. It's going along well.
When I was listening to your comments Saturday, I just want to clarify, but it seems like essentially is there 2 battles going on, Brian and Cody for the 1 job, and then Taylor and the 2 freshmen for that 3rd spot?
Correct, is where it is right now. That's kind of, I think, with Ryan's experience and with all the reps that he got in spring practice and the way he progressed and his comfort level in the offense, and then with the way Cody's coming in as a 5th-year senior, and then you got Taylor, you've got Taylor Birch and those 2 young freshmen who are competing for that 3rd. I think, it's hard because you'd be very leery to take a red shirt off a freshman just to be a 3rd. You're very leery. You want to, if they're ready to play, I want to play them. But as much as anything, we got to get them ready in case there is an injury or 2 during the course of the year, like we had last year. And one of those guys has to step in and play. But that's more or less how it's shaking out right now. Yes.
So that's what you're leaning is the red shirt too.
Well, no, I'm saying it's shaken out by saying those guys are competing for the 3, and who's going to be the 3rd, and then those other 2 are competing for 1 and 2 right now. And so when they're 3rd, we still got to get them ready. But I'm not going to burn their year just to be a 3rd and put them in a mop-up role at the end of a game.
You talked about the offensive line as well. I think it might have been yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but you named like 3 or 4 guys. Some of the guys that were top the 2 deep in the spring.
Yeah.
Is that group starting to solidify themselves in terms of starters?
They really, I mean, right now, I think at left tackle, we got a great battle going on right now with Jens Danielson and Darryl Brown. There's a great battle going on with those 2, and they're both really playing well. You know, it's like every day you come off the field, you're like, you know what, maybe it's him. Then the next day, you're like, maybe it's him. I feel like we got 2 really good left tackles with what they're doing. I think Trey Carter's had a great camp, just 11 days in, but tremendously improved from a year ago. I like what Brunson's doing at center. I like what Greenwald's doing at right guard. I think Mitchell Bell right now is the right tackle, but I think when I look at Chris Ia and the progress he's made in camp, the way he's gotten better, I really like what Brunson and Mahaffey are doing right now, or Wixon and Mahaffey, and what those 2 are doing and the way that they're coming. I think right now there's a lot of great battles going on the offensive line, but those 5 are really starting to emerge. You know, I'd say those 4 and then the 2 back up to the tackle and the backup tackle on the left side are really starting to emerge. They're playing well together as a group. They're communicating. They're talking well. They're a close-knit group. You know what I mean? They're doing a lot together. When somebody messes up, there's a lot of encouraging going on. But I really like the attitude of this team and the way they're all playing together right now.
Well, there's much turnover as you had, especially with last year and then this year.
Yes.
How do you feel that I know you mentioned you're starting to gel, but like, did you expect that it would be this quick? Is it going as you'd like so far?
Yeah, it really is. I'm encouraged. I'm very encouraged with what I'm seeing out of the offensive line. I think Matt Moore's done a tremendous job because there is not a coach on the staff that's had a harder rebuilding process than he has in the offensive line. When you start to look at the majority of those names have all been recruited in the last year. And we talked about in the opening press conference, normally when you talk about you have 20 seniors, you're thinking about 4th and 5th year guys that have been in your program. But out of that offensive line, I think there's only 2 that we haven't recruited in the last year. And so you look at that's just a lot of new faces to try and gel 4 years of relationships and comfort in an offense or defense to be able to make all the calls. And I think Matt Moore and those players deserve an awful lot of credit for the commitment that they've made. And we told them what the challenge was. We told them, you know, being new, this is what we're fighting against, and this is what we got to get, and we've got to kind of move this thing into time speed, into warp speed, where we can see this thing like it's the results of 2 or 3 years down the road. And they've worked extremely hard at it, and they're putting in a lot of extra time, not only spending time together, but a lot of extra time in that meeting room and making sure that everybody's on the same page.
Not to beat the quarterback battle into drudgery, but is there anything that
That's drudgery already. Go ahead.
is there anything that Higgins or Sokol can do at this point that either one of them need to do to really maybe put them ahead of the other?
No, like I said, they're protecting the ball. They're reading defense is good. I think it's just every day, you know, they'll make a couple mistakes. And for a guy like Cody, he's only had the offense for 11 days, which I expect him to make some mistakes. But it's just who's going to play the air-free football, who's going to give this team the best chance to win. And right now I feel like we have a much better option than we did a year ago. And I feel like both of them, Ryan Higgins has improved tremendously from a year ago. But I think Cody Sokol has really come in as a fifth-year senior, as a graduate who came in here, who's really looking for the opportunity to play. He's got a great grasp on it for only having 11 days. And I think they just got to keep getting better. But those two guys, both of them, are really doing a nice job. And I'll say this, I mean, I love the talent of the other three. And I think if the other three were getting the number of reps that those two were getting, we might have a chance to get them ready. But with the experience and maturity of those two older guys, I think those are the two right now that we made the decision to go with, who we feel is going to give us the best chance early. But we may get into Game 5, and one of the red shirts may have to come off one of those young guys as they get thrown into the fire. But I really like the talent of this freshman class. And I've been really impressed with the running backs, the two running backs, and Walters and Kraft. I think they've done a nice job. I really like what Gaines and Watts have done. They've shown up. I really like the two young freshmen. Shane Carpenter's been doing an excellent job on the offensive line. I think he's going to be fine down the road. I really like Cedric Cooper at corner and the things that he's doing for us right now. Jalen Ferguson is at defensive end. I mean, there's some guys that are really doing a good job in this freshman class.